Our top story this morning is about the escalating tensions between India and China. Now, amid heightened tensions between the two countries along the line of actual control, China has now claimed that India fired warning shots. However, there is no response as of now from the Indian army on the accusations made by China so far. Now, the Chinese Ministry of Defense has put out a statement saying that shots were fired in the presence of the Indian army and the People's Liberation Army. This development comes days after the Indian and the Chinese defense ministers met in Moscow. The diplomatic and military level talks between the two sides have failed to yield any results so far. Now, recently, India outflanked China by taking control of strategic heights near Pangong Lake's southern bank. Now, it also thwarted an attempt by the Chinese army to enter into the Indian areas near the southern bank of Pangong Tso in Ladakh. Now, for more updates on this developing story, WION's principal diplomatic correspondent Siddhant Sibal joins us live. A very good morning to you, Siddhant. Now, this is a clear sign of escalation at the line of actual control, as all talks of disengagement seem to have borne no results so far. Now, China claims that Indian soldiers fired warning shots after crossing the LAC. So, has the Indian army responded, and can we expect a response later in the day as well?
Well, Priyanka, situation remains precarious in the line of actual control. We know that in a midnight statement, Chinese claimed that shots were fired. As of now, there is no official reaction by the Indian government sources or by the Indian army. But of course, we know that there will be a response by the Indian army as the day progresses. The situation has been precarious in terms of conversations. In fact, after having conversation at the ground level commanders meeting for almost a week, there were no conversations on Monday. There, of course, have been positive gestures by the Indian army over the weekend as well as yesterday, when the Indian army allowed yachts to go back to the Chinese side, gave them the yachts which crossed over, and of course the Chinese who crossed over in North Sikkim as well over the weekend. By and large, we know that India has been talking about diplomacy as the way forward. In fact, the Indian External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Jaishankar, will be leaving for Moscow today. He will be attending the SCO Foreign Ministers meeting on 10th, which is just few days from now. And there can be an expected meeting with the Chinese foreign minister. But as the developments have happened at the line of actual control, the big question is, will there be a meet now, given the fact that how things are changing very fast at the line of actual control to the point of a major escalation?
Now, Siddhant, just a follow-up question to that. Now, these diplomatic and military level talks that have been taking place now for more than 2 months between the two countries. And in fact, as you just pointed out, just recently, India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh had met his Chinese counterpart. And we were led to believe that both parties had agreed to de-escalate tensions. So how will this recent development affect the same?
It is a development which will have a negative impact, cast its negative impact on the conversation, because there have been multiple rounds of conversation at the political level now, of course at the ground levels, commanders meeting. We know the conversations were happening for last 7 days. But of course, now focus is to make sure how to diffuse the tension, because both sides have publicly been saying that it is the need to diffuse the tensions, given the fact that they are two large neighbors. And in fact, the conversation that happened between the Indian Defense Minister and the Chinese Defense Minister happened at the request of the Chinese Defense Minister, and he had requested almost 3 times in 80 days, and thereafter the conversation happened. It was a pretty long meeting that happened in Moscow. Now, of course, the focus is on the next meeting, which of course is still to be confirmed by the Indian government officially between the Indian Foreign Minister and the Chinese Foreign Minister. But by and large, if we look at how things have been panning out for last 4 months, if confirmed, the development which the Chinese have been claiming, this would be the third major incident at the line of actual control, because we know that in June, the Galwan incident happened. India lost 20 of its soldiers. Then, of course, India was able to outflank the Chinese in the southern bank of the Pangong Lake just last weekend. And the focus now is to make sure that the Chinese disengage as soon as possible at the Pangong Lake, the north bank of the Pangong Lake, from Finger 4 to Finger 8. And this was specifically mentioned as in the by the Indian government, the Indian Defense Ministry, on the Defense Minister's talk between the Indian Defense Minister Rajnath Singh and his counterpart in Moscow, the sideline of the Shanghai Organization Defense Ministers meeting.
Right. Siddhant, thank you so much for joining us this morning and for all your updates on this.